Welcome and thank you for joining us to this edition of Coach's Corner. My name is George Webb, and I'm here with Steve Ryan, who's head coach of the Dover Sherburne Raiders. Thanks for taking some time to meet with us, Steve.
Thanks, George.
So, coming into the Bellingham game, team was 4-0. Bellingham was 2-2. We thought we had a pretty good shot at walking away with this one, but we came up a little bit short. The final score was 35-24. And we're now looking at 4-1. It's not often you get a shot at a perfect first half of a season. So maybe you can talk a little bit about the how the team's reacting and a little bit about the game.
Well, the game, first thing I have to do is give a lot of credit to Bellingham. They played a great game. I think they're a good team, and I think they played great. As far as us, there are things we could improve on. I certainly believe we left some points on the grass out there in Bellingham, and defensively we had a couple of guys out of position at different times, and it makes a big difference. You see how, they called the game of inches, and it really was. How we're reacting, our whole philosophy in game and after games is don't flinch, right? We're ready for the next play. You can't do anything about what happened in the past, but we can do something about the future. So, we say in game, a bad thing happens, don't flinch. Right now, we had a loss. We're not going to flinch. We're just getting ready for the next game.
If you take a look back at the last 10 games, we're 8-2, pretty good track record. The two losses we've had, both of them have been against Bellingham. And so we really wanted to get a piece from them this time around. Is there anything that Bellingham in particular is doing? We know that their coaching staff did a pretty good job preparing for us, but is there anything in particular that they did that surprised us?
I wouldn't say we were surprised by anything, but what they traditionally do is they have big, strong kids. Weightlifting's a big thing over in Bellingham, and they get after it. And I think, we're getting to that level. We're getting to that point. But, in the fourth quarter, when you have bigger, stronger kids, it makes a difference.
So let's talk about that for a minute. So the question is, did we get overpowered, or was it scheming? Were the things there were a number of things we could have tightened up a little bit better. But overall, do you think we can compete with a club like that? And what were some of the things that we might be looking to clean up going into next week?
I certainly think we can compete with them. I want to reiterate that they played a great game. The win for them is on Bellingham. It's how they played. So. Can we beat them? Absolutely. I like to think that we were the better team, but we did not play better that night. So
on any given Friday night. So it's in this game, it's you either win or you don't win, and close doesn't count for a whole lot. We did get a little bit of a silver lining on Saturday morning, though, with JV.
Oh, yeah, JV had a great game. I think it was 42-0. Garrett Webb was, throwing the ball all over the place. He had a great game. A lot of fun to watch that one.
So it was nice to get a little bit of a payback there with the JV squad. Let's pivot and look at the second half of the season. And as Belichick says, on to Cincinnati. We're on to Medway. We've been very focused on them for the last several days. Can you talk? We had a nice win against Medway last year. You've done some scouting on them this coming game. Any thoughts on them and what we're going to be expecting from them?
Well, I think, again, they're big, strong kids. I like to think that our skill guys are better, and I think that, our interior guys will compete with them, and that's what we need to do.
So they like to run it up the middle, right? They tried that pretty hard last year. Do you see the same inclination in this year's squad?
Right. They don't throw the ball all over the place like a few teams we face do. They're primarily a running team, but we're prepared for everything they do.
Anything in particular you think that we should be looking out for as we get into the game, or anything you're particularly coaching the team on this week?
Well, the big emphasis this week so far has been getting our guys healthy, to tell you the truth. We've had 4 or 5 guys out for each practice, and they're impact players. So, we're getting them healthy. At the same time, we're getting their backups ready to step in and play.
Going back to the Bellingham game, too, some of the challenges we had were some players out of position and getting a little bit surprised with a couple of deep balls. Can you talk a little bit about that, and particularly with the shuffling of personnel, health-wise, what are we doing to make sure guys are familiar with the schemes and line up in the right spots?
Yeah, when we get beat, we can always, if we get beaten, man, we can always change to our zone defense, and we have less worry about that. But changing to his own defense, it kind of limits how much blitzing we can do. So, and I really think the identity of our defense is a lot of blitzing and getting out and having big negative plays for the offense. And we're just getting ready for our starters, but also for anybody who could possibly be in to play both of those schemes.
So we feel like we can compete with just about any of the other teams in the Tri Valley Small. We're coming into first of three pretty tough games, right?
Absolutely, but you're right. We think we can play with anybody, but the league is really good this year. The Tri Valley Small is a very, very strong league this year, and there's no easy games.
So we have Medway this week away at Medway at 6:30 on Friday night. Next week we have Millis, and then the week after we have Norton, right? So that's going to be three important games in a row, and winning those, and it really gives us a good ability to control our destiny as we get into the playoffs.
Well, it's always good to beat good teams, and that's three good teams in a row. So it is 6 o'clock actually this Friday. They had changed the time.
I'm always a half hour on that, so check your listing to make sure that the game goes off at the right time. So, any final thoughts as we get the team ready? The big question we had from a lot of a lot of angles was after a great start and then losing a tough game like this. Are the guys going to be up for it? And success isn't linear often, so are they going to be up for it? And what are we doing to help them?
Yeah, I believe our guys are ready. It's just what we instill in them is just you can't do anything about what happened last play. Let's get the next one, right? And it's the Belichick thing of on to Cincinnati, as you mentioned, but it's for real. We would love to have it. It's devastating to us to lose a game to Bellingham again in a game that we were right there and it was there for our taking and it just didn't work out. So, it's a tough loss, and football is even tougher because you have a week in between games, and so it's all week. But we just instill in the guys, hey, it's not about Bellingham anymore. It's about Medway. It's about Medway. It's about Medway. It's not even about Millis to us in 2 weeks. It's just about Medway.
One game at a time. Any final thoughts as we wrap and we get ready for Friday night?
No, my only thought that I've seen this week is how hard these kids are working. So I think we'll be ready.
Good. Thanks again, Steve, for joining us for this week's Coach's Corner. Again, Friday night at Medway, 6 o'clock. Thanks for being the straight man on that. And, again, the 12th man has been great all year. It's a big crew that went out to Bellingham, so we'll ask that you do the same thing and head out to Medway to support our team. It's the biggest game of the year, and they really appreciate your support. Thanks for joining us. Hi, my name is George Webb, and I'm president of the Gridiron Club for the Dover-Sherburne Football Raiders varsity football program. We'd like to thank all of you for the sponsorship and donations to the endowment. The program sponsors and picks up a lot of the budget items that the Dover-Sherburne school system is not able to provide for our football team. We pick up additional coaching, training, and team events for the athletes so that they can continue to have all the resources they need to have a successful and winning football program. Again, we've had winning seasons, 5 out of the last 6 seasons. A good part of that has been contributed to and supported by the community and the endowment that supports the program. If you'd like to continue to contribute to the endowment, we'd encourage you to go to the DoverSherburneGridiron.com. There's a link there, and we welcome your contribution. It's a 501c3 organization, not for profit, supporting the team. We also benefit from gate receipts. So coming out and supporting your team on Friday nights when we have home games is really important to help support the endowment, but it's even more important to support the athletes. The kids work very hard, and again, they're coming up on the potential for a 4th winning season in a row. So we've been in town for a long time, and it's been a while since we've had a team that's been this successful. So again, thank you for your support, and please continue to support the Dover-Sherburne Gridiron Club. Welcome, and thank you for joining us. My name is George Webb, and I'm here with Coach David Frazier. Thanks for joining us.
No problem. Good to be here.
So, Dave, thought you might want to take a few minutes just to tell the viewers a little bit of how long you've been involved with the program, your background in football, and what position you're coaching this year.
Yeah, so I've been here. This is my 3rd year. My role changes. I had the I was helping Coach Lack 3 years ago with the on the defensive side. Then 2 years ago, I had the D linemen, and now I help up with the linebackers and the fullbacks and wherever they need me.
So split allegiance a little bit this weekend for you. We got a big game against Medway, and you happen to live in Medway, so you can talk about that for a minute. I know you're watching and you're staying close to the Medway football program too.
Yeah, so yeah, I know a few of the coaches, a few of the kids, kids, good coaches, but for 2.5 hours on Friday, then I could be my friends because it's an important game, TVL game. They're coming off a tough loss against Norton. Obviously, we lost against Bellingham, and they're good. They're good up front. They got some big linemen. They're going to try to run the ball a lot. That's their bread and butter. Hopefully we can get them. The goal is to get them third and long, force them to pass where they're weakest. But I think it's going to be it's an exciting game. It's an important game, and it's two teams that are well matched.
So you've scouted a lot of the film, and a little bit bigger kids, but we're probably a little bit more athletic.
Absolutely, our kids are in shape and they're athletic, and I always say that. Last year, this year, these kids fight. Bellingham, they fought mentally. We had a couple mental errors. We wish we could have them back, but physically, these kids gave it their all. And I put our kids in the fourth quarter, end of the second half with anybody in shape. Our kids don't wear down, and they play 4 quarters of football.
So part of football is athleticism. The other part, scheming, making sure you know your plays, and the third part is just wanting it more than the next guy. And so one of the coaches we let in the locker room and kind of whip the guys up before games. So in spite of the calm demeanor over here, you're the guy we let loose in the locker room. You talk about that a little bit, and how are you going to get them ready for this week?
Yeah, I just it's a football game, so these kids are passionate, and sometimes I want to remind them, 10 minutes before we go out there that it's a football game, it's a team. Help your teammate out, play for the other guy, and I like to get them going. And it's a big part of these kids' lives, these 8-10 games, whatever we have. And playoffs aren't guaranteed. Injuries, you never know when your last game is. And we want these kids to appreciate it and get after it.
So this is a big game. We have this game against Medway, and then we have Millis, and then Norton after that. But somewhere in between there, they're going to start to put together the playoff schedule, right?
Absolutely. So another reason, this game, in my opinion, if we can get a W here, which, I say humbly because that's a good team and we're going to give it our best. But to be 5-1, I believe we control our own destiny if we can get to 5-1. 4-2, season's not over, but it's an uphill battle, and anything can happen. But if we're 5-1 and we beat a good team like Bellingham, we'll rise up in the rankings.
And so Norton looks like the team to watch. Pretty strong squad. Medway is no pushover coming up this week. But if you look a little bit further ahead, Norton looks pretty tough this year, right?
Absolutely. So we've played them twice since I've been here. And those kids are tough. Those kids fight every year. They got tough kids. They're physical. They beat Medway double overtime last week, and yeah, they're a hard-nosed team. And also with Medway, two teams coming off a loss. If Medway gets a W, beats us, they're right back in the hunt. So, we try not to look too far down the road, but we do circle as coaches. Norton is circled, Medway was circled, and Bellingham was circled. So we kind of know the important games. The guys had a good day of practice. We need tomorrow to be crisp. Game plan's good. We just got to execute.
Thanks for taking the time to join us. But as we talked about earlier, Medway, we're sitting at 4-1, having the chance to go 5-1. Very important and a very good and very tough league this year, the Tri-Valley Small. So, again, thanks for joining us, and please join us on Friday night at Medway at 6 p.m. Again, the 12th man makes a difference, and the team would appreciate you being there. Thanks for joining us. Hi, my name is George Webb, president of the Dover Sherburne Gridiron Club that supports the Dover Sherburne Raiders football team. We'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Conrad's Restaurants. Conrad's is sponsoring the Coach's Corner on a weekly basis. It has 4 locations in Norwood, Walpole, Foxborough, and Sudbury. We'd like to thank you again for sponsoring Raider football. And to our viewers out there, please stop by and frequent Conrad's at your nearest location. Thanks for joining us. My name is George Webb, and I'm here with 2 of our players. We have Henry Murphy as co-captain. We've interviewed Henry before, and Griff Rossbottom. And these are 2 of our hardest-hitting guys on defense. So these are the madmen in the middle. I thought we'd take a minute, and maybe, Griff, you can just tell us a little bit about yourself and how long you've been in the program.
Hi, I'm Griffin Rossbottom. I've been in the program since my freshman year, so this is my 3rd year. I'm a junior, and this is like really my first year playing a lot more, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And so far it's been a really good season. Last week was a tough loss, but we're really looking forward to getting Medway on Friday.
So you played in Coach Bennett's program as well, right?
Yeah, I played for Coach Bennett in the 7th grade as well. Some of my friends like Henry, they played with him throughout all of elementary school and middle school.
So this is your first year in varsity, although we had you a little bit back and forth last year too, right?
Yeah.
And your dad is the voice of the Raiders, right?
Yeah.
He's up in the booth and calls the games and does a nice job with that. So, Henry, can you talk a little bit about Bellingham and what we had our chances there, but particularly from the defensive side of the ball, we got surprised a little bit. Some guys out of position. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I'll give props to Bellingham. They were definitely ready for us. It just came down to simple mistakes, really. Our defense is a great defense. We have some really athletic kids, and I think across the board, we are a better team than Bellingham. But it just came down to the mistakes. You never want to point out anybody. It's obviously a team game, but we definitely worked on, having better discipline and knowing what you're doing every play of the game.
So we had our shots. We were surprised with a few big plays. They really broke it, but
that's all that it was. It was like I think we held them to at least maybe 10 first downs. It was just big plays for them that killed us. Like our defense is really centered around like giving up short yardage, and then when they're in the red zone, shutting them down, and that's what we've done all season. It's just those long plays that they gained that killed us,
And part of it was getting our guys in the right positions, right, making the right reads.
Exactly, yeah. There was definitely some confusion, blitzing, formations, but stuff that is easily fixable and that we've definitely focused on this week.
So correctable stuff, because that's the question. When you get beat, we know Bellingham's a tough town. We know they got a little bit of size on us on the line, but none of that made a difference. It was just more scheming and making sure we have people in the right spot.
I think throughout we've been able to prove a lot of people wrong, that size is not that big of an issue. That size is a big issue, and we've been able to prove that wrong throughout the season. But we just kind of killed ourselves in that area. We definitely made some mistakes.
So if I had to give the Ronnie Lott Award every year, it'd be a tie between you 2 guys, because if we get a highlight reel of some of these cracks that you guys are doing out there, it's really good. And Griff, particularly you, first year playing varsity, you're putting your hat in all over the place. You want to talk about your style of football in particular? You play with a chip, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, going into every game, you got to have that mindset that it's like you got to sell out and leave it all on the field. I mean, if you go home after that game with regrets, like that like regret's going to be worse than any sort of like little pain or itch or like bruise you get from like selling out on the field. So my mindset like in the game is like, it's like right here I can make a play and feel great, or I can go home with regret. And, I choose to play every day.
That's it. You put it all on the field, and you never have even. It doesn't matter what the scoreboard is, right? You always walk away with a victory. So let's talk about Medway for a minute. Particularly you guys, as Henry is leader of the team. After a loss like that, it's disappointing with Bellingham. Again, those have been our 2 losses out of the last 10 games. It's tough. What are we doing as a team to make sure the guys cowboy up and get ready for Medway?
I think it's just been super focused practice, no talking on the sidelines, really disciplined, and then every rep that you're playing it to your full potential, so you're ready for a fight with Medway, which will be literally every play of the game is equally important, and you just got to play every play.
That was a pivotal game for us last year too. Last season, here at home, we had a real nice win over Medway. They came in pretty strong, so we think we can compete with them pretty good. Well, again, this is kind of a one-game season for us. It's not quite like that, but it's a big difference between, as Coach Frazier said, being 4-2 and 5-1. So you guys can really take control of our destiny with a win. So stay focused and turn up on Friday night. Thanks for joining us. My name's George Webb, and we'll see you next week for Coach's Corner. Hopefully we'll be 5-1, and we'll look forward to giving you the post-game wrap. Thanks for joining us.